How's it going, guys? It's the Pixelated Pumpkin, and in today's video, we'll be looking at Lowe's Halloween 2023 complete lineup. Now, this isn't really the true complete lineup, as all the photos and videos of all the props have not been officially released yet. There's a mix of some official and some non-official video and picture leaks that we'll be taking a look at today, but I feel like enough time has passed and enough is leaked where it definitely warrants me making another video on all these props that Lowe's will be offering for us this year. They've definitely stepped it up with the quantity of the props, but have they stepped it up with the quality? In today's video, I really hope we can answer that question. So, without any more hesitation, let's get started by taking a look at Lowe's Halloween 2023 animatronics. The first prop we're going to talk about is this giant zombie groundbreaker, or as I like to call it, a gigaprop. Now, what is a gigaprop? If you watched my last video, basically gigaprop is the term I coined by saying the big giant props that started with the Home Depot 12-foot skeleton, and all these other companies that are trying to follow that up will be called the gigaprops. I think the name works pretty well since it is obviously not your average size prop, but with how many we're getting, they're kind of starting to become the norm. So anyways, this is a gigaprop right here, a oversized gigantic zombie groundbreaker. Now, this guy is very divisive in my opinion, and while I do think it's cool to see that we're getting like a groundbreaker version of a gigaprop, it really doesn't make all too much sense, and it's kind of unnecessary looking. I mean, him being that big is just kind of goofy looking, especially with the tombstone. It's like, it's so impractical and unrealistic. And let's be real, this guy looks pretty cartoony, not the most realistic looking zombie for sure. I definitely cannot say I'm the biggest fan of this one, but it is nice to see another unique take at the gigaprop format, because this is definitely a first for that. They've all been standing props until this point, so this one is definitely something new in terms of, the giant gigaprop lineup. Now, I don't know really what else I could say about it. The animation is pretty cool, I guess. I like how he rocks the tombstone back and forth. That is something I would have not expected on a prop like this, so it's nice to see that, honestly. I would expect him to raise the lantern up and down, but I do like how he shakes the tombstone. That's definitely the best part about this guy. Other than that, I really can't say he's all too great. Again, it's just nice to see another more unique take at these gigaprops rather than just another giant standing prop. So, I don't know. I think it's a cool concept, but again, pretty divisive on how he looks, and just, I don't know, can't say I'm the biggest fan. And with that price tag of $600, I can't say he's worth it either. That is a complete ripoff. Sure, it's huge, but at the same time, $600 for this? No, thank you. Alright, here is our next prop, the guard zombie. Now, if you remember my original Lowe's video, I actually did talk about this guy, but at the time, all we had was a stock image. Now, I can't remember my exact thoughts, but I'm pretty sure I said I thought he looked generic, but I would have to see his animation and audio first. Now, seeing his animation and hearing his audio, I'm actually really impressed with this guy. While I still don't think he looks all too great, honestly, he's very cheap and plasticky looking and not the best face for sure, I think the animation and the audio really kill it here, especially the animation. It's very lifelike, and even though it is the same motion repeating, I mean, what do you expect with Halloween animatronics? That's what it always is. I still really like the fluidity of it, and it just looks really natural and good. The audio too, they did not mess up at all. It is really good as well. Again, my only complaints here are the way he looks. I don't know, I'm just not too impressed with that. It looks very cheap, very bland and boring, just the same old, not even that gory or great looking for a zombie prop, especially the face and hair. The hair looks really cheap and weird looking. But other than that, I really have to say I am impressed with the way this guy turned out. I really thought he was just going to be another generic zombie prop, and while he kind of is, the animation definitely makes him stick out among the rest, and the audio as well. So I don't think he's awful at all. In fact, I think he's a pretty good prop. Alright, here's our next prop, and this one is the first of many pneumatic props Lowe's is bringing us this year. So I think this is officially called the Ghostly Woman, and this was another one of the props that we had the stock photo of way earlier, I believe like around 3 months ago, again in that older video, same with the guard zombie. So I did talk about her a little bit, and I do, much like the guard zombie said, I'm a little bit iffy on how she looks. I mean, it's definitely not the worst looking prop, and I do think it looks better than the guard zombie, but the face is pretty cheap and weird looking, not too great, and I still hold that opinion. But now for her animation and audio, and honestly, I'm not too impressed like I was with the guard zombie. It's this very weird popping up and down motion. It just looks very unnatural and not a great use of the pneumatics here. I really think having a pneumatics for this prop especially is very unnecessary. The convulsing movement would look better with a normal gear box, I guess you could call it, right? I really don't think that a pneumatic works better in this situation. It just looks very jerky and weird and just, I don't know, not too great. The audio is just screaming, which is better than her talking, honestly, so no really faults with the audio. I do like how her clothes look a lot. Those are very tattered, creepy looking, and I think those look good. But overall, I think I like the guard zombie better than this one, honestly. Even though it's a little bit more unique, I guess you could say, the guard zombie just is still better in the animation department, and it really, you know, this one, the ghostly woman, really does not use the pneumatics too well. So maybe this is a sign for what's to come. Let's see. Our next prop is this pop-up clown guy. Now, this is yet another one of the props I covered in my previous video. I guess I'll just knock all those out of the way and then we can get to some of the other stuff. But anyways, this is yet another pneumatic prop that was being hyped up majorly. Everyone clearly expecting this guy to have a huge jump up animation, similar to Mr. Dark, I guess you could say. But obviously that is not the case, and I mean, it is a pretty big letdown. Now, I really wasn't all hyped about this guy too much. I mean, it's a generic looking clown. It definitely reminded a lot of people of Lucky Bottoms from Spirit Halloween from last year, with it being kind of like a clown groundbreaker almost. But everyone was expecting him to have a huge lunge up animation because he has that huge black skirt at the bottom there. That obviously looks like cloth that would extend upwards so he could make a jump, right? But all he really does is kind of shakes around on the ground back and forth using that pneumatic tube. And all I have to say is, man, what a waste here. We could have had something really cool with the pneumatic, like a very fast punch jump scare, but it just ends up shaking around, and it just ends up being a really lame prop in my opinion. I don't know. I think it's just super generic, super weird looking, and honestly, it just kind of sucks. Lucky Bottoms might be better than this guy. Definitely not impressed with this, and it kind of sucks to see how the pneumatics are being used so far, so definitely not looking too good.
Has the flickering of my candle led you to me? Then come, child, and know that no one returns from my embrace. Allow me.
Our next prop is the last of what I already covered in previous videos. Again, they're all just stock images, no videos, so now we finally have the videos, and this was definitely my favorite of all the stuff that got leaked prior. And I have to say that probably remains true now, though the guard zombie is basically contending with this guy so far. I think I really do like this cemetery angel a lot, though. It really works well here. It's definitely a lot different from some of the other cemetery angels we've seen over the years, and I really do like this one. Definitely has that classic cloak with the glowing red eyes. That's something that's been cliched 1,000 times, but it really does work well here. And my favorite part, of course, are the giant wings that flap back and forth. That is really, really cool looking. I mean, they're supposed to be made of stone, of course, but I don't know. I think it looks great, honestly. And I do like the little standees on with the blue lighting. I think that also works well. And of course, the candle he's holding is pretty cool. Overall, I think this is probably my favorite Lowe's has released this season. We still have so much more to look at, so only time will tell. But right now, this guy is definitely really awesome and definitely one of my favorites. The next prop we have is a pneumatic groundbreaker, and finally, a prop that gets the pneumatics right. This prop looks awesome. I love the animation, the violent shaking. It looks so fluid and realistic here. It is done perfectly. It's really nice to see at least one of these props is using the pneumatics properly, and this is definitely a perfect example of that. I also just love how this guy looks in general. It's a really good looking undead guy. It's not even like a zombie all too much. It just looks like an actual, like, realistically designed dead person, so that makes it even more creepy. And interestingly enough, this one was made by Techie Toys, so maybe Techie will bring us some more pneumatic props this year. And definitely, they did a fantastic job with this one. Sure, it's a simple groundbreaker, but because of that violent movement, it actually ends up working so well here, and I really, really love this one. This is probably my favorite Lowe's release this year. I know it's so simple, but I just can't get over how realistic and good it looks. The only complaint I have is probably the cobwebs on his shirt. I don't know if that was just added or that's actually on the prop, but that looks kind of dumb. And also the hands being skeletal hands don't really look good either. I don't know really too much about that decision. I don't know why they would really do that, but it's kind of just a nitpick. At the end of the day, this is a fantastic little groundbreaker. The next prop we have is the first licensed prop from Lowe's, and it is, of course, the one, the only Leatherface. Now, I'm a big fan of the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. That movie is a horror masterpiece, in my opinion, and they did a fantastic job, at least for looks, ripping Leatherface basically straight out of the movie and making him into a prop. Of course, we've had a Leatherface prop from Jemmy before, and I don't think anything is going to beat that one. I mean, the old Jemmy one. I'm pretty sure this one actually might be made by Jemmy, too. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, this guy looks actually really good. The mask looks good, the clothing looks accurate, and despite the way the blood looks on the chainsaw, that looks pretty good too. And though I think this prop might look great, I cannot say the same about the animation. Take a look at this video here, and if you have a keen eye, you'll notice that Leatherface, for some reason, has the same animation as Mr. Punchy from Spirit Halloween last year. What were they thinking? This is a very, very big letdown in my opinion. This could have been an awesome prop. He could have raised up the chainsaw and shook it violently, and hell, you could even have the chainsaw chain spinning on there. But they gave him the same animation as Mr. Punchy for some reason, and it looks so goofy and dumb. I really, really don't know what they were thinking by doing this. It is a very, very big disappointment in my opinion. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, they could have done so much better, and it just sucks knowing all the wasted potential this prop has. I still think it looks good, though. That's not going to change the fact that it is a pretty accurate-looking Leatherface, but, you know, just such a letdown with the animation. So I really don't know how to feel about this prop now. As much as I want to like it, the animation just kills it for me. So I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me over time, maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see. The next prop we have is another Giga prop, being this 12-foot scarecrow. And now, I think this is definitely one of the best, if not the best, 12-foot prop Lowe's has done up until this point. And I actually really like the design of this one. I love the giant scythe he's holding. That is actually really cool. And just the overall design of him, he's pretty detailed for a 12-foot prop. The face doesn't look half bad. And honestly, it might be one of my favorite 12-foot props up until this point from all companies, not just Lowe's. So we'll have to wait and see what it does. I believe it might have mouth animation, that's possible. I don't really know, though. I really don't think the animation or audio really matters too much with these 12-foot props. It's mainly just about standing out with how tall and huge it is, and this one definitely delivers on that. I think it's around $400, which is very expensive and very overpriced in my opinion. But it's still a very cool prop, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's what you're going to be paying for these 12-foot props. I really don't think it's worth it, though. But anyways, I do think it is a cool-looking scarecrow, for sure. The next prop we have is this clown holding a teddy bear. Now, this looks to be another generic clown in my opinion. It's not too interesting. The color scheme is kind of unique with the gray and red. Other than that, it's kind of bland. And of course, the teddy bear, but really, how will that play into it? I don't know. It looks cheap too, just looks like a simple plastic head. I don't think this one will feature any mouth animation. But it just seems like kind of a filler prop, honestly. I really don't have too much to say about it. We only have like 1 or 2 photos of it. It's really not that great looking, and we have a much better clown, which I'll talk about right now, that is coming to Lowe's this season.
Well.
Alright, for those of you who don't know, this is the Techie Toys Stilts Clown. And it is being sold at Lowe's this year. But would you believe me if I said this video was from like 6 years ago? Well, this is because this prop was actually meant to be sold at Spirit Halloween, I believe, but ended up getting canceled. Now, Techie Toys has been shopping it around for the past, I guess, again, 6 years, and nobody bit until Lowe's did this year. And to be honest, Techie Toys, I believe, only has like 2 other clowns that are actual animatronics they've made. Techie Toys never makes clowns. But as you could see, when they do, they are incredible. This has been one of the most loved clown props that never ended up getting released, but it is so finally nice to say that it is for the 2023 season at Lowe's. I'm really happy to see this prop get a chance at life, and it is just a really, really great clown prop. Certainly one of the best decisions Lowe's has made this year to actually start selling this guy. It is a fantastic prop, and I just know it will be a great seller this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing this guy in person for the first time. The next prop we have is another Gravedigger. Now, I mean, this one just looks goofy, honestly. This is the only photo we have of it, and I don't think there's any videos of it yet. And this one just looks like a train conductor, honestly, with the hat especially. I don't know. This one is just pretty stupid looking. I don't really know what they're thinking here. It's not creepy. It's just kind of, again, silly looking. not much else to say about this one other than it's not good. The next prop we have is this red hooded Grim Reaper skeleton guy. And I don't know about this one. All we have is this photo and this listing where he's only $125, so not the worst price in the world. And I do think it's a full standing life-size prop, but I don't really know what this one's gonna do. It's very simple looking, you know, just a very plain design. So the animation must be something strange here. So again, I'm gonna have to wait and see what the animation is before I really give any thoughts on him, but he exists, just so you guys know. Next prop we have is this witch, and to be honest with you, this one looks super cheap and generic. I believe this was probably made by Pan Asian Creations. I could be wrong on that, though. It just looks like a boring old witch prop. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more creepy than a lot of them, but she's holding the skull. I mean, really no big deal. It is just another witch prop, in my opinion. Not really going to get any better than that. It's just a generic witch. That's all it really seems to be, and I don't think the animation or audio will really save it here. Just very cheap looking as well. Not a big fan. Not a fan at all, even. Our next prop appears to be a lunging pumpkin carver remake. This is definitely a techie prop for sure, and definitely the lunging pumpkin carver. Same position, same everything. It seems to be pretty simple looking. She's holding this little doll though, which I guess is different, and I assume her audio will be different as well. Really, there's not much to say. I feel like the lunging pumpkin carver has been remade like 3 times already, so it's kind of getting old in my opinion, but I don't know. Maybe this one will shake things up a little bit and be even more creepy or something. Alright everybody, and that is a wrap for my overview of the Lowe's Halloween 2023 animatronic lineup. There were a few things I left out, like all the little tabletops scattered around in those videos at their manager meeting, I think that was called, basically the showcase they had. I am not going to go into all that stuff. There's just way too much. But honestly, just looking at it, you know, you could take a glance for yourself. They do look pretty good. A lot of the pumpkins especially. But with that, guys, that really does wrap it up. To recap, I think Lowe's is bringing a lot to the table this year. They definitely had to kick it into high gear since, you know, after seeing what Home Depot's been doing, they definitely want to try to replicate that for themselves and obviously make some of that money Home Depot's bringing in. So they've definitely tried to step it up. And while I don't think they've matched or not really even come close, honestly, they're definitely getting there for sure. This is definitely the biggest year they've had in a very long time. So much new, so much stuff, just a lot of new animatronics and a lot of new ideas they're bringing to the table. I think they definitely think they have something with the pneumatics, and while I don't think it's been used properly on most of the props, it's still cool to see this new technology being integrated into these consumer-grade Halloween props. So I'm looking forward to more of that in the future from other companies, not just Lowe's. But overall, guys, I have to say I have thoroughly enjoyed talking about Lowe's stuff. What are your guys' opinions? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, everybody, as always, this is the Pixelated Pumpkin, signing out.